Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of AM2R. Now, for you guys, this is just going to be on the regular schedule, but for us, it has been a while since we've actually recorded, so I have no idea where we even are in this game.
It's been 84 years.
It's been 5,000 years.
We're in the lava area, the obligatory
Lava is happening, yes.
Yeah, lava world.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so I actually do think I know where we are right now, maybe? And this episode might have a moment that I was sort of talking about in some earlier episodes, just like a cool little storytelling moment. But I probably shouldn't say that because I bet you it's not actually in this episode, just because that's how this goes sometimes.
Are you sure that wasn't in the last part where we met the space people?
I don't think it was, but again, it's been a while. I was in Japan for a couple weeks, and now we're back.
Hello.
Hi. I made it. I made it home.
Yay. Dan's back.
So, question, Dan. Does
Yes.
this look anything like Japan?
No, Japan is not a fiery hellscape.
What?
I know.
That's not what the animes have taught me.
Well, yeah. It turns out Japan not a post-apocalypse.
So I was following your Twitter while you were in Japan, and you mentioned something about Bunny Island. Please tell me that's like an island just full of rabbits.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's an island that they did a lot of gas testing on in World War I, and then, or maybe World War II would probably make more sense. I don't know, but in they were testing chemical gases and stuff, and after World War II, they became Japan became pacifist, and so they had no use for a chemical gas weapons testing island. So now there's just a bunch of bunnies that live there, and it's basically just this ferry that you go to, and there's just bunnies everywhere.
How did the bunnies get there?
So no one really knows, from what I understand. The Japanese government is very adamant that they were not being tested on for the gas stuff, so that's good.
That's great.
But no one's really sure exactly how they got there. They just kind of are there. But it's pretty great. You go and you buy a pack of food and for $1, and you put it on the ground and the bunnies come up and eat it. And there's just bunnies everywhere.
Isn't there an island for cats also?
There
kinda
is.
Like that?
Yes, there is also a cat island. I did not go there because I don't really care about cats.
I know there's Nara Park with the deer.
Yeah, I didn't make it out there either. Nara is probably one of the places if I go to Japan again, which I would like to. Nara is where I would hit, or I would probably spend a bit of time there doing nature-y stuff in Nara. I was in the area, I was in Nara's very close to Kyoto and Osaka, so yeah, I would definitely go there. But again, missed it. Didn't go to any animal cafes because I wasn't confident that they didn't treat their animals poorly, which was too bad, but whatever. That's what happens.
Did you pilot? How many? I should say, how many Gundams did you pilot while there?
Only one.
Huh. Disappointing.
I went to the Gundam Museum in Odaiba, which is where the giant Gundam was.
They recently took that down, right?
It was being dismantled. Yeah, it was. I could still the legs and chest were still up, but the arms and head were gone.
You recovered the legs for us, right? So that we could rebuild it here, right, Dan?
Yeah, I brought them home.
Okay, cool.
I mean, they are putting up a new one. The only reason they took down that one is because they're actually putting up a new, bigger one.
I think it's not the one. I think they're putting up the one from Gundam Unicorn.
Oh yeah?
That's what I heard anyway. But speaking of which, does anybody here remember that robot challenge between Japan and the U.S. that was supposed to happen?
I do.
Yeah. What went down?
Apparently, it's supposed to happen this August.
Oh shoot.
Man, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I hope that's real, and Japan is definitely going to win.
That's it.
There's no question in my mind.
If they don't, it's gonna be really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this actually is the moment that I was talking about earlier on in the series. So you'll notice there was a lot of rumbling. I sort of did this like loop around the map, and then there was all this rumbling that happened. And then now sort of this one bottom pathway is actually closed off to me.
Yeah.
And we are gonna go back up.
I too do not like this part because after that rumbling, the entire environment changes, and you're basically stuck in this loop of an area.
Yeah, which is intentional, right? Like they want you to go back up.
Yeah.
But as you can see, I did not know that. So yeah, you go up there, and there's like a single baby Metroid, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever, no problem. You take it out, but then you have to go back up because there's nowhere else for you to go at this point.
Yeah, this is one of those times when like the game really doesn't give you any indication of where to go next.
Well, that's the thing is it makes you go through the checklist of like, oh, I can't go anywhere. I guess I better just do a loop around. It's actually I think it's kind of cool actually. We're gonna make that loop eventually.
Yeah, yeah, because the way you have to go is like up, right? From this room.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, yeah, but
yeah,
like,
and then oh my god, there's a new pathway that goes up. Oh no.
This wasn't on the map.
No, it wasn't.
And I think it's hard. You can't really hear. I mean, at least I'm recording this at a pretty low volume, but you might be able to hear on your screens. There's actually like while you're climbing up that pathway. Yeah, while you're climbing up that pathway, you can actually hear gunfire happening in the distance.
Right.
And then you see that, and then this Metroid takes out everything.
It's good sound design.
That's just a super cool moment. I don't know if I go past the Metroid here, but if you do go past the Metroid, there's actually like a whole little. Oh, am I doing it? I can't tell. There's a whole room that you can actually go into, which has like a bunch of their gear in it and stuff. It's just like a really cool thing. It's like, oh, here's this crack squad that's obviously like they all have different weapons and they're trying to get in here and like they sent them in to take out the Metroids, and then it's like, nope, Metroids killed them all.
It's funny because it's just like, oh, there are other people. Oh, they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's the same thing that happens with the research team, kind of. But in here, it's almost more so because you hear the gunfire in the distance, and you're like, oh, that's either good or bad, and it turns out it's bad.
Look, it's what happens to Samus in every single video game. Why was the thing just standing there for a second?
Because it just does that. So if you go into that area, I'm pretty sure it actually resets this boss's health.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah, but I didn't know that at this point. Yeah. So I'm going to give a little spoiler here. I'm going to die in this episode, and the reason why I die in this episode is that I accidentally didn't... I had one recording gaffe in this entire playthrough, and it was on this boss, who I fought a million times, and then happened to not be recording on the time that I actually killed him.
Of course. Yep. Yeah, that... Yep.
And because this is a Metroid game, there's no way to go back and like redo that save, so you don't actually get to see me kill this guy.
So it never happened. You just didn't.
It
happened.
happened.
You just didn't plain out beat this guy.
The miracle never happened.
Anyways, the Omega Metroid is this is the Omega Metroid. It's very hard. You fight a couple more after this one. Mega Metroid does a ton of damage, has a lot of mobility, and you can only hit it in this little green area. But you can also hit it. It's a little back slit that opens up. Oh yeah, so here's me. I'm like running away. I'm like, oh fuck this.
GGFO.
And Samus bails.
I think I came out to try to get back to my save point so I could heal and then go back.
You're gonna die, aren't you? Something like a Goomba's gonna come out and just like knock you
No,
on
so
your
there's
ass.
no enemies in this area, but I also don't think they let you go back to the save point at this point.
No, that was the other part that's frustrating about this area. I think that's the only thing. It's like, because you could be stuck here for a while.
Yeah, one thing that is annoying about this is that because they lock you out of the save point, they lock you every time you reload this boss. You have to go through fighting that baby Metroid and then doing the loop around. So it's one of those moments where it's like that storytelling moment is actually really awesome. But you see it so many times that it's because you're probably going to die on the Omega Metroid the first time, and if you're me, the first 10 times you fight it, which means that you see that scene a lot of times, and it's one of the only times where There's a save point that is kind of far away from where the boss that you have to repeat is. So that can be pretty frustrating.
I seriously need to actually finish this game. It's fun to watch this through the playthrough, and I have the game on my computer. I haven't had the time to play it, and I really enjoy what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's really
fun.
good.
It's fun. Yeah, even if you're seeing all this, it's still fun to actually do for yourself.
It's very, very good.
Oh, you're going back in.
I'm going back in, but it's not going to go very well.
Back in the game.
So there's a little slit that opens up once the Metroid stops. It just sort of does this jump, and then when it jumps, there's a slit in the back. If you hit it in the back, that actually does way, way more damage, but obviously it is quite difficult to get the timing down to actually hit it.
Oh, why, hello, Samus. I've been expecting you to return.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think this is just sort of a real tightrope to walk when you're doing horror stuff, because in horror games, you basically, anytime you make the player have to repeat something, the optimal thing in a horror game is for the player to just make it out of something. Because every time they die, that means they have to repeat the thing, and every time they repeat the thing, it's less effective. A scary thing is really only scary once, and once you expect it, it's not scary anymore. And so I think this moment of the game has that problem, I think, where it's a really cool moment, but you're gonna be doing it a lot of times, and it's a long sequence, and every time you do it, it is a little bit less effective.